Nice to meet you. I'm your presenter today. Hello, dear visitor. I'm Lady Liberty, and I've stood watch over New York Harbor since 1886. My journey to becoming an enduring symbol of freedom and democracy is full of fascinating details, remarkable people, and incredible feats of engineering. Allow me to share my full story with you. Conception and birth, a vision of liberty. My story begins in the mind of a Frenchman named Édouard de Laboulaye. In 1865, at the end of the American Civil War, Laboulaye, a French political thinker and staunch abolitionist, suggested creating a monument that would celebrate the Union's victory and symbolize the enduring friendship between France and the United States. He believed that a gift of such a statue would reinforce the shared values of liberty and democracy. Laboulaye's vision was brought to life by the talented sculptor Frédéric Auguste Bartholdi. Born in Colmar, France, in 1834, Bartholdi was known for his grand monuments and passion for large-scale projects. Inspired by the ancient Colossus of Rhodes, Bartholdi envisioned a towering statue of a woman holding a torch, symbolizing enlightenment and freedom. Design and construction, a marvel of engineering. Bartholdi began designing me in the early 1870s. He wanted me to be colossal, so he worked meticulously on every detail. My full name, La Liberté éclairant le monde, Liberty enlightening the world, reflects my purpose, to serve as a universal symbol of freedom. Bartholdi modeled my face after his mother, Charlotte Bartholdi, and gave me a classical appearance, inspired by Libertas, the Roman goddess of liberty. My crown has 7 spikes, representing the 7 continents and 7 seas, signifying universal liberty. The tablet in my left hand is inscribed with the date July 4 MDCCLXXVI, July 4, 1776, commemorating the signing of the Declaration of Independence. Construction began in France in 1875, with the help of some of the era's most skilled artisans. My skin is made of copper sheets.
Each approximately 3/32 of an inch, 2.4 meters thick, which were hammered into shape using the repoussé technique. The copper sheets were then mounted onto an iron framework, designed by the great engineer Alexandre Gustave Eiffel, the man who would later design the Eiffel Tower. Eiffel's innovative iron pylon and secondary skeletal framework allowed me to stand tall and withstand the elements. By 1884, I was completed in Paris and was ready for my journey to America. But before I left, I was fully assembled in France to ensure that everything fit perfectly. Journey to America, a transatlantic adventure. Disassembling me was a colossal task. I was taken apart into 350 individual pieces and packed into 214 wooden crates. The French frigate Isère carried me across the Atlantic Ocean. My journey was not without challenges. Ships in those days were not designed to carry such heavy cargo, and there were concerns about my stability during the crossing. Nevertheless, I arrived safely in New York Harbor on June 17, 1885. A pedestal fit for a goddess, American support. While I was being constructed in France, the Americans were responsible for building my pedestal. This task was undertaken by the American architect Richard Morris Hunt, who designed a granite pedestal standing 89 feet, 27 meters tall. My total height from the ground to the tip of my torch would reach 305 feet, 93 meters, making me one of the tallest statues in the world at the time. However, raising funds for the pedestal proved challenging. Despite the enthusiasm for my arrival, the project ran into financial difficulties. It was Joseph Pulitzer, the famous newspaper publisher, who came to the rescue. Through his newspaper, the New York World, Pulitzer launched a fundraising campaign. encouraging Americans from all walks of life to contribute. His efforts paid off, as over 120,000 donors, many of them ordinary citizens, contributed to the fund. Construction of the pedestal began in 1883 on Bedloe's Island, now known as Liberty Island. By April 1886, the pedestal was ready, and I was reassembled on top of it. The entire process took about 4 months, with workers carefully piecing me together, bolt by bolt. The Grand Unveiling, October 28, 1886. My official dedication took place on October 28, 1886, a day filled with celebration despite the pouring rain. The ceremony was attended by thousands, including many prominent figures of the time. President Grover Cleveland, who had just recently been elected to his first term, presided over the event. In his speech, he declared, "We will not forget that liberty has here made her home, nor shall her chosen altar be neglected." The dedication ceremony included a military parade and a naval review. As the French and American flags draped over my face were pulled away, I was unveiled to the world, and the crowds erupted in cheers. Becoming a symbol, the mother of exiles. As I stood in New York Harbor, I quickly became a symbol of hope and freedom, particularly for the millions of immigrants arriving in the United States. Between 1892 and 1954, over 12 million immigrants passed through nearby Ellis Island, and I was often the first thing they saw as they approached their new home. For these newcomers, I represented the freedom and opportunity that awaited them in America. The poet Emma Lazarus captured this sentiment perfectly in her sonnet, "The New Colossus," written in 1883 to raise money for my pedestal. Her words were later engraved on a bronze plaque and mounted inside the pedestal in 1903. The most famous lines read, "Give me your tired, your poor, your huddled masses yearning to breathe free, the wretched refuse of your teeming shore. Send these, the homeless, tempest-tossed to me. I lift my lamp beside the golden door." These words cemented my role as the mother of exiles, a beacon of hope for those seeking a better life. Restoration and preservation, a new century. As the years passed, I began to show signs of aging. By the early 20th century, my copper skin had oxidized, turning me from my original copper color to the iconic green patina that you see today. The patina, though a result of natural weathering, actually helps protect me from further corrosion. However, by the 1980s, I was in need of significant repairs. In preparation for my centennial celebration, a massive restoration project was launched. The restoration, completed between 1984 and 1986, involved replacing the original torch, which had been damaged over the years, with a new one covered in 24-karat gold leaf. My iron framework was also replaced with stainless steel to prevent rust, and my internal structure was reinforced. The restoration was completed just in time for Liberty Weekend, a grand celebration held from July 3rd to 6th, 1986, marking my 100th anniversary. The event included performances, fireworks, and speeches from dignitaries around the world. President Ronald Reagan presided over the festivities, reaffirming my status as a symbol of freedom and democracy. A legacy of freedom. Today, I continue to stand as a symbol of liberty and justice. I have witnessed history unfold through wars, depressions, and moments of great triumph. I have seen America grow and change, always striving to live up to the ideals that I represent. In 2019, a new museum dedicated to my history and significance was opened on Liberty Island. The Statue of Liberty Museum allows visitors to explore my story in greater depth, including seeing the original torch that was replaced during the 1986 restoration. Fun facts and anecdotes. My dimensions. I stand 151 feet 46 meters from my heel to the top of my head, and from the ground to the tip of my torch, I reach 305 feet, 93 meters high. My face is over 8 feet, 2.4 meters tall, and my waist measures 35 feet, 10.7 meters around. The broken chains. At my feet, broken shackles symbolize the abolition of slavery and the end of all forms of oppression. Bartholdi initially planned for the chains to be in my hand, but later decided to place them at my feet to make the message more subtle. The torch. The torch I hold in my right hand is a symbol of enlightenment. While it was originally intended to be a lighthouse, it never functioned as one due to insufficient brightness. However, the torch remains an enduring symbol of the light of freedom. Visits and popularity. I welcome around 4.5 million visitors each year from all over the world. People come to see me, learn my story, and take in the breathtaking view of New York City from my crown. Fun facts and fascinating details. A grand vision. The early sketches. Before finalizing my design, Bartholdi created several sketches of what I might look like. One of the earliest concepts was of a gigantic Egyptian peasant woman holding a lantern, intended as a lighthouse for the Suez Canal. When that project fell through, Bartholdi adapted the idea into what would eventually become the Statue of Liberty. The wind factor. Despite my size and the weight of the materials used to construct me, around 450,000 pounds or 204 metric tons, I'm flexible. My copper skin is thin enough that I can sway slightly in the wind, up to 3 inches, 7.60 meters in strong gusts. My torch, however, can sway up to 5 inches, 12.7 meters. This flexibility helps me withstand harsh weather without damage. The torch's glow. Although my torch no longer serves as a functional lighthouse, it once shone brightly thanks to an innovative lighting system. In 1916, the original torch was modified to include glass panels and was illuminated from within. However, the glass panes leaked and the modifications were removed. The torch was replaced entirely during the 1986 restoration, with a new design covered in 24-karat gold leaf, reflecting sunlight by day and light from floodlights by night. An accidental landmark. The Statue of Liberty wasn't always green. My original color was a reddish-brown, similar to a shiny new penny. Over about 30 years, my copper exterior oxidized, creating the green patina that you see today. Interestingly, there was some debate in the early 20th century about whether to restore my original color, but it was decided that the green hue was now part of my iconic image. Celebrity connections and cultural impact. A presidential visit. On July 3, 1913, President Woodrow Wilson visited me as part of a ceremony celebrating my renovation. This was a rare presidential visit to Liberty Island, and it marked the first time a sitting president had visited me. Thomas Edison's attempt at a giant phonograph. In the 1880s, the famous inventor Thomas Edison proposed installing a giant phonograph inside me that would allow me to speak. The plan was to have me recite the Declaration of Independence and other patriotic messages. However, the idea was never realized, though it sparked a lot of curiosity at the time. A silent film star. I've made several appearances in movies over the years, but one of my earliest cameos was in the 1917 silent film, The Immigrant, starring Charlie Chaplin. The film captures the experience of immigrants arriving in America and features a poignant scene with Chaplin gazing at me as he enters New York Harbor. Hollywood's favorite. I've been featured in countless films, from Planet of the Apes, 1968, to Ghostbusters 2, 1989, to The Day After Tomorrow, 2004. Each time I appear, I'm often used to symbolize America, freedom, or resilience, whether I'm standing tall or being destroyed in an apocalyptic scene. Anecdotes and quirky stories. The Eiffel Tower's sister. My internal iron structure was designed by Gustave Eiffel, the same engineer who built the Eiffel Tower. In fact, my structure served as a sort of prototype for the Eiffel Tower, which was completed 3 years after I was dedicated. Eiffel's work on me helped him refine the techniques he used to create the iconic Paris landmark. A gift for a centennial. In 1966, to mark my 80th birthday, the French government gifted the United States a replica of my flame, which now stands at the entrance to the Pont de l'Alma tunnel in Paris. It's become an unofficial memorial to Princess Diana, who died in a car crash in the tunnel in 1997. A forgotten arm. In 1876, to generate interest and funds for my construction, Bartholdi sent my right arm and torch to the United States, where it was displayed at the Centennial Exposition in Philadelphia. Visitors could pay 50 cents to climb up to the torch's balcony. After the exposition, the arm was moved to Madison Square Park in New York City, where it remained until 1882. It wasn't until 1884 that the full statue was completed and shipped to the U.S., leaving the arm in the spotlight for several years. Controversies and debates. The financing struggle. The construction of my pedestal was mired in financial difficulties. The U.S. government did not initially provide funding for the project, leading to delays and frustration. It wasn't until Joseph Pulitzer launched his campaign through the New York World that enough money was raised. His fundraising tactics, publishing the names of every donor, no matter how small their contribution, were innovative for the time and helped galvanize public support. Political symbolism and criticism. While I'm widely seen as a symbol of freedom, my image has also been used in political debates. Some critics in the early 20th century argued that I was more symbolic of an unattainable ideal than the reality of life in America, especially during periods of economic hardship and social inequality. These debates have continued throughout history, with various groups invoking my image to support their causes. The copper controversy. My copper exterior wasn't universally loved when it was first unveiled. Some critics thought the reddish-brown color clashed with the natural surroundings, and later, when I turned green, there was debate about whether to preserve the patina or restore the original copper finish. Ultimately, the green hue became synonymous with my image, and the idea of restoration was abandoned. The 2017 Refugees Welcome banner. In February 2017, protesters unfurled a large banner reading "Refugees Welcome" on my pedestal in response to the U.S. government's immigration policies at the time. The banner was quickly removed by the National Park Service, but the incident sparked a significant amount of media attention and debate about the role I play as a symbol of hope for immigrants. The broken chains debate. The broken chains at my feet, symbolizing the abolition of slavery, were originally intended to be more prominent. Bartholdi planned to have me holding the broken chains in my left hand, but this idea was ultimately scrapped to avoid provoking controversy, as the Civil War was still a fresh and sensitive topic in the United States. Instead, the chains were placed at my feet, where they're less noticeable. A modern connection. Superstorm Sandy. On October 29, 2012, Superstorm Sandy hit New York City, causing extensive damage across the region. I was also affected. Liberty Island was severely flooded, and the infrastructure supporting me was damaged, leading to my closure for repairs. I remained closed to visitors for over 8 months, reopening on July 4, 2013. Despite the storm, I stood tall, a symbol of resilience in the face of adversity. A new museum, the Statue of Liberty Museum, opened in May 2019, is a modern tribute to my history and impact. Located on Liberty Island, it offers visitors a deeper understanding of my construction, symbolism, and the experiences of those who have come to see me over the years. One of the museum's highlights is the original torch, replaced in 1986, which is now on display. These fun facts, anecdotes, and controversies paint a fuller picture of my story, revealing that I am not just a static symbol, but a living part of American culture and history. That's my full story, filled with rich history, engineering marvels, and the enduring spirit of liberty. I hope you've enjoyed this journey through time with me. Remember, every time you look up at me, you're not just seeing a statue, you're seeing a symbol of the values that we hold dear. My journey continues as I stand as a beacon of hope, freedom, and resilience for people around the world. If you enjoyed the presentation, please don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Thanks for watching.